Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling a really chilling hypothetical. It's a scenario our source material presents as, well, the ultimate global threat.
And we should be clear, we're not talking about historical plagues or even viruses we already know about.
No, this is something else entirely. We're diving into the existential risk of a totally new, completely untreatable, and just terrifyingly fast pathogen.
Our mission today, for you, is to really get past the surface level fear and look at the specifics. We're going to unpack the characteristics of this hypothetical threat, which the sources call pathogen X.
And we'll analyze precisely why its mechanics of spread don't just make people sick. They trigger a rapid, irreversible collapse of everything, a collapse we are not ready for.
Not at all.
And the hook, the thing that's designed to keep you up at night, is this premise. A disease appears suddenly. It's completely unknown. There are zero medical countermeasures.
No cure, no vaccine.
And no way to stop it. The key phrase from our sources that just sticks with you is that this thing spreads at an insane speed.
And that speed, or really the velocity of its spread, is the whole game. The problem isn't just the virus, it's the temporal compression. There's simply no time to react.
It's the speed that breaks everything.
It is. It exposes just how vulnerable our interconnected global systems really are. They're built for efficiency, not for a shock like this.
Okay, so let's try to nail down this definition of pathogen X. The sources describe it as a pathogen totally unfamiliar to science. Its lethality is just shocking.
And it's not just who it kills, but how quickly.
Right. We're talking about something that could kill most people within weeks.
What's so crucial to grasp here is the simultaneous failure of all our defenses.
Yeah.
Usually you have layers, right? If treatment fails, you have a vaccine. If that's too slow, you have prevention, isolation.
Tiered response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But pathogen X, as it's modeled, it just arrives and nullifies all three lines of defense at once. By the time you even know what it is, the global system you need to create those defenses is already breaking down.
So it's a knowledge problem that creates a catastrophic time lag. If the systems can't hold, then we have to ask, what are the biological traits that make it so impossible to contain?
We're looking at a perfect storm, really. A combination of traits that basically weaponizes normal human life.
Okay, so the first one. This is what guarantees that exponential growth. It's airborne transmission. If it's airborne, the sources are clear. Infection just requires breathing near someone who is infected. That's it.
No scrubbing surfaces, no complex PPE, just shared airspace. That alone is a huge public health challenge. Your standard surgical masks, social distancing, it's just not enough.
But that's not the real killer feature, is it? It's that, combined with the second factor.
This is the critical multiplier. This is why the scenario is so unique.
The long incubation period.
Yes.
This is the piece that ensures total systemic global collapse.
Yeah.
The sources model an asymptomatic period for upwards of 10 days.
And that 10-day window is everything. It means an infected person is moving around, flying, taking the subway, completely unaware they are a carrier.
They're not just spreading it, they're untraceable super spreaders.
Precisely. They are seeding the infection in every major city, every transport hub, every critical workplace, long before the first major symptom even appears on the news.
So if you put those two together, airborne transmission and a 10-day asymptomatic window, containment isn't just hard.
It's impossible. It's impossible from minute one. You can't track what you can't see, and you can't isolate people who look and feel perfectly fine.
And the healthcare workers, they'd be the first to go.
They'd be infected in that first silent wave. By the time the virus is even identified, the very people you need to fight it are already sick. It collapses the command structure before the battle even starts.
So if containment is off the table, the clock starts ticking for, well, civilization. What does that timeline even look like?
The sources paint a picture of frightening speed. We're used to thinking about slow decay, but here, because you remove key people everywhere at once, the disintegration is immediate.
And it starts, logically, with hospitals. The sources say hospitals start collapsing in the first week.
The very first week. And it's not just that doctors get sick one by one. It's that the specialized knowledge, the ICU specialists, the lab techs, it just fractures instantly.
Who's left to make the impossible triage decisions when half your staff is gone?
And once that medical core is gone, the failure just cascades into the economy. Our global economy is optimized for efficiency, right? Not resilience. Pathogen X exploits that.
Okay, so what does that mean for something like banking? When the sources say banks stop, It's not just my local ATM being down, is it?
Oh, it's far more fundamental. Think about it. Global banking runs on high-speed, centralized IT systems maintained by very specialized people.
Right.
As soon as a fraction of those people can't work due to illness or just fear, the systems crash. Physical money becomes worthless, and electronic commerce, which is the lifeblood of our supply chain, just stops
So food distribution grinds to a halt.
immediately. It relies on electronic payments for fuel, for transport. No payments, no movement.
And that's the real consequence, the complete erasure of modern logistics.
Yeah.
And if banking goes, then the most critical service, electricity, is next.
Absolutely. The sources list electricity as a critical service that would stop. Maintaining a power grid requires constant, specialized human oversight. Think about nuclear plants, complex fossil fuel stations,
You need engineers on site.
and you need a supply chain for parts and fuel, which you no longer have. The grid fails.
So a dark, silent planet, no banking, no light, no communication, no clean water because the pumps need electricity. How? How quickly does this all fall apart?
Based on these models, we are talking about weeks, not months or years. Weeks, until the fundamental services for our entire civilization just cease to function.
Wow.
It really defines a fragility we don't like to acknowledge. The threat isn't just the virus, it's the simultaneous removal of the people who keep the machines running.
Which, if that timeline holds, leads us to the mortality prediction. This is where the sources introduce this horrifying term, partial extinction.
Yeah, this is where the numbers get really, really stark. The scientists in the source material project that if the fatality rate were to settle between, say, 40 and 60%,
40 to 60%.
humanity would enter what they call a phase of partial extinction.
That scale of loss is, it's almost impossible to comprehend. What does partial extinction actually mean for anyone who survives?
It means total societal fragmentation, a near complete loss of accumulated knowledge and infrastructure. The species survives, yes, but the demographic loss is so huge that entire cities, maybe whole nations, just cease to exist as coherent places.
So the survivors aren't rebuilding.
They're starting over,
Hmm.
reduced to a post-industrial localized life, trying to restart civilization from almost nothing, with the ghosts of the old world all around them. The world before Pathogen X is just gone forever.
The gravity of that is hard to sit with. So if quarantine is our go-to response, why do the sources insist it would fail so completely here?
The failure is just. It's baked into the physics of the disease. Again, it's that airborne nature. If it's in the air currents, simple isolation, even mandating basic masks is just labeled very difficult and ultimately not enough to stop the momentum.
You can't quarantine the air.
You can't. And the sources detail the kind of infrastructure you'd actually need. They mention things like biological isolation walls and advanced special ventilation systems.
Stuff we don't have everywhere.
That's the key. These things are technologically possible, but they're for a lab or a bunker or a tiny government facility. The world does not have this level of protection for all people.
So protection becomes something only for the absolute elite.
Exactly. Defense relies on localized, incredibly expensive resources, making global safety impossible.
Which brings us right back to the beginning, the core threat multiplier. That combination of a long asymptomatic incubation and rapid airborne spread, it's not just a challenge, it's a design flaw in our global society that this scenario exploits perfectly.
The speed and the invisibility, those are the weapons.
And they guarantee the collapse of all our interconnected systems.
I think the